Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. Alright guys, on this episode of the Bullet Points this morning, I have got to show you some clips from this interview from Steve Dettelbach, Biden's new shiny ATF director, on CBS last night. Now, we covered this on our last night's episode around some of the things that were talked about, the actual text of the article in the exchange, but what I want to show you right now is an 8-minute video cut down into different little clips where this guy Dettelbach literally comes out and says, SCOTUS is the supreme law of the land. The ATF can't make laws. That's Congress's job. The big cities are to blame for all the gun violence. You cannot make this up. And I know somewhere out there in a beautiful, far-off land, there are some gun controllers' hair that is on fire after this. Because keep in mind, their entire mission for the past 2 years since Biden's been inaugurated is get somebody in control of the ATF to really steer and guide that agency, to really make an impact for gun violence and gun control nationwide. And this is the first interview that he aired. Let me know what you guys think in the comments field below. And if you are new, we would love to have that subscription. We are always looking to earn it, to get more people in the fold, to send out information quickly to further our rights as we move forward together. But with that, I cannot wait to show you this. I'm going to do 4 clips. Oh, it's so delicious. I can't wait to hear your comments. So here's the first one. This one's about where the violence is occurring. Again, the sitting ATF director.
Would you acknowledge you are taking over this agency at a time when crime and violence is worse than ever?
I don't know about worse than ever, but things are not good right now. And look, you said it. Over 100 people every day in this country are killed by firearms violence. And some of those things get on shows like this, but a lot don't. A lot of that is sort of the constant drumbeat of gun violence that people, largely in our cities, but everywhere, live with every day. It's unacceptable, and we in law enforcement are going to do everything we can to stop it.
Guns have now become the leading...
Okay, enough of that part. So let's just break that first segment down. First of all, 100 people per day also includes 2/3 of suicides. They didn't mention that. They glossed over it. I'm just going to tell you that's that. But also, Norah O'Donnell, who is the CBS anchor here, is coming out and saying, it's the worst that it's ever been. What are you going to do? Let's make some action. What laws are you going to create out of nowhere? Well, the only problem is the FBI statistics are fully available, and that's on your screen right now. This is the rate of violent crime offenses by population going back to 1990. Does that look like it's the worst that it's ever been? Even Steve Dettelbach, Biden's shiny new ATF director, goes, well, I don't know about the worst ever. Here's the graph right in front of you. All right, let's continue because it's almost like Norah has an agenda. Well, that's going to become a lot more clear in a second when I show you these following up clips because this is gold, people.
What laws would you like to see changed that could help the ATF stop this scourge of gun violence?
There's a great national discussion about all the different laws out there, and Congress just acted in a bipartisan way to provide more laws. That is an important discussion. That is a discussion where people have different views. But the ATF director's job and ATF, our mission is to catch people who have violated the laws we already have.
But you have an opinion. You've called for a ban on assault weapons in the past.
In the past, I've talked about those issues, of course. And of course, like everybody, I have an opinion. But again, it's really important that people understand that the ATF is not a political agency.
The ATF is not a political agency. It's the ATF's job to enforce existing laws, not create more. Norah O'Donnell ain't having it. She's like, well, you've called for AR bans before. Yeah, but that's not the job of the ATF. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying I trust this individual. What I'm saying is this is going to set people's hair on fire. That's what I'm saying. But that was number 2. I've got 3 clips for you. Now listen, because Norah O'Donnell starts getting a little irritated about the fact that he's not taking her cues with the gun control talking points. Listen to how she comes out with him at him on this one, the 3rd one.
Do you think it's too easy to buy a gun in this country?
That's a conversation for others. Look, we have a constitutional amendment that the Supreme Court has said protects the right to bear arms for individuals. And so it's for policymakers and courts to make those decisions, not for ATF and not for the ATF director to make those determinations.
Completely punted away from the executive bureaucracy of the ATF into Congress. And that's actually what he's supposed to do. Again, I'm not saying I trust an individual like this, but what is really funny is watching Norah O'Donnell's reaction when the entire time they've been advocating for an ATF director. They pushed this guy across the finish line, and these are the things that he's saying, which is hilarious. And I've got one more, and this one is above and beyond for the SCOTUS decision. This is where Steve Dettelbach, Biden's shiny new ATF director, endorses the SCOTUS decision and says it's the law of the land. If you do not believe me, here you go. Check this out.
To make those determinations.
As a former prosecutor, right, what do you think of the Supreme Court's decision that would expand gun rights and essentially allow more people to carry firearms in public?
What I think about it as an attorney, and whether I'm an attorney and I'm a former prosecutor or not, what I think about it is what the Supreme Court says something, it is the law of the land.
You can even hear that at the end. Nora O'Donnell's going, yeah. The entire reason I'm bringing you this is because, one, it really serves multiple purposes. One, you can look at Nora O'Donnell, and she's clearly trying to pitch the gun control and lead the interview from a perspective of gun control. Mr. Steve Dettelbach is not really following along with her cues, and she starts to get very irritated and becomes more aggressive and direct with her questioning that are gun control aligned. Steve Dettelbach is clearly either scared of the EPA versus West Virginia decision, trying to keep his job for when Congress switches over to the Republicans, or he's just so astute that he is not saying anything that he knows he's seeking trouble for, or he's not the sharpest tool in the shed and he's not picking up what she's laying down. It could be any of those things. I have no idea. But to watch a known gun controller lead the interview and not get where she wants and get that frustrated, I can only imagine what the David Hoggs, the Igor Volskys, the Shannon Watts are thinking to themselves about their shiny new ATF director. Let me know what you guys think in the comments field below, and I will see you at the 9 p.m. segment tonight. I'm Braden. See you later.